Station affiliation has been disavowed. You are now marked as rogue.
Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome fellow SHD agents. Today we're going to talk about Warsport LVOA-C.
Intelligent System Analytic Computer is activated. All ISAC systems are confirmed online. Attention, hostiles approaching.
This is the Warsport LVOA-C. It is set up to look as close to what you would get in the Division as possible. But real quick, let's give you a backstory on who Warsport is, why you can't find these rifles anymore, and what led to that. So Warsport was based out of Robbins, North Carolina. They started in 2007 and were pretty much out of business by the end of 2018, kind of the beginning of 2019. I no longer saw anything come out of their actual in-house manufacturing. And the reason that is because they started to have really bad quality control problems. In fact, their rails were out of spec, their barrels were out of spec, twisted, wouldn't hold zero, all sorts of issues, because the investors that invested into Warsport wanted to cut costs by reducing machining time. Now, this rifle is incredibly well machined. It is really a piece of art. It is something that cannot be made quickly. It is very time consuming to make a rifle of this caliber, which is why it also costs almost $3,000 when it was brand new, which put it out of the price range of pretty much everybody at that price point. I mean, Knight's Armament wasn't even selling full SR-15s for that price. And this is a boutique parts rifle. There isn't a lot on this rifle that is actually manufactured or made by Warsport. There's a lot of great products on here, but you could assemble something pretty close to this yourself should you have wanted to. They also wouldn't sell the handguard separately unless it was part of a complete upper or a build-it-yourself upper kit or a complete rifle. And a lot of people loved this handguard. A lot of people also hate it, but if you loved it and you wanted it, there was only one option. Get an LVOA-C complete, or you didn't get the rail. You had to have the rifle, so they made it proprietary, exclusive. Not a lot of people like that. In fact, this is one of the most hated rifles on the internet. I love mine. This thing is incredible. It's obnoxious. LVOA, the name, is also obnoxious. In fact, this is just an obnoxious rifle. It shoots fireballs out the front. It's not night vision friendly. It can't be suppressed. But it feels like a Hollywood gun sounds, shoots, and feels when you're watching that movie. It's like super powerful. On real quick. This rifle is empty. Magazine is empty. Bolt face, nothing in the chamber. Nothing down the mag well. Safety first. But this gun just feels like, you know, the hero gun in an awesome action movie. You're just, it's shooting fireballs out, and it sits really flat. It returns to recoil incredibly well because it's so freaking heavy. This rifle, when it's not accessorized, is 9 pounds. As it sits right here, it's 13. And I don't even have a laser on this thing. This is a heavy son of a gun. But it also keeps the recoil impulse incredibly flat. And this trigger, you can shoot fast, and it's just awesome. It just feels incredible. It's one of the most entertaining guns to shoot on the planet, unless you're on either side of it. If you're the shooter, awesome. If you're next to it, or behind it, or near it, or not shooting it, it's obnoxious.
Go for it.
The concussion standing next to it, dude, is obnoxious. So, LVOA-C. What the hell does that mean? Well, like I said, it's an obnoxious marketing gimmick. LVOA-C. C stands for carbine length, and LVOA stands for Low Visibility Operation Application. Which makes me kind of laugh, because, like I just told you, this thing is a Hollywood obnoxious movie gun. It shoots gigantic literal fireballs out the front, it can't be suppressed, it's louder than hell. So how can this thing be low visibility? Well, what they were referring to is the Cerakote color that they chose to sell their rifles in. Originally, these came in this, like, bazooka olive green, kind of like the Noveske rifles. Not quite that color, but that was what they were referring to, is it would blend into its natural outdoor forest surroundings. Low visibility. Yeah, sure. The moment you start firing this thing, everybody knows where you are on a 45-mile radius. This thing is going to attract return fire. No ifs, ands, or buts. But while you're doing it, you feel invincible, and it's fantastic. So let's go over this entire rifle from tip to butt, just like Flannel Daddy likes to do, and we'll tell you a little bit more about it.
Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only. Backup activated. System rebooted.
Caution. Entering dark zone. Alert. Intercepting JTF radio traffic.
Taking small arms fire! Small arms fire! Looters have us in their sights! JTF hearing this? Please respond!
Tracking signal. Analysis complete. Uploading coordinates.
$15.40, pretty decent upgrade.
So starting at the front, this is a top hat compensator. It has gigantic ports in pretty much every direction, and it is about this long and just helps with everybody knowing your location the instant you fire a single shot out of this. The fireball on this thing is both laughable and impressive, because this is a technically 16-inch, well, not 16-inch barrel, but this is a 16-inch overall length. And it's amazing how much a muzzle brake and compensator can enhance that blast. This is definitely not a flash hider, and it kind of compensates because, like I said, it keeps the rifle pretty flat, but man, is it obnoxious. It is pin and welded to the barrel, bringing the overall length to 16 inches. It can't be replaced, it can't be swapped out, it can't be suppressed. There's not enough room between the muzzle device and the handguard, and no muzzle device would ever, or no suppressor would ever go onto this muzzle device because it's about that big around. But it really helps keep this rifle flat. Great shooting and obnoxious concussion, which is just, like I said, so effing fun. Love shooting this rifle because of this top hat compensator. It is made by Warsport. It was made in-house, and it is pin and welded. Now the barrel is where this rifle is an absolute dream. This is a 14.7-inch barrel, cold hammer forged, chrome lined, 1 7 twist, match grade barrel. This barrel, as always, is inherently more accurate than I am. This is probably the most accurate gun in my collection, maybe next to my 16-inch Knights Armament SR-15. Nobody cares. This is one of the most accurate guns in my collection. This barrel is unbelievable at putting shots exactly where I want them to go. Initially I had this set up with an ACOG, and it was an absolute tack driver. No muzzle rise, easy to get on target, and you could just continually put stuff into a teeny tiny tin ring. Really, really great barrel. It is chambered in an interesting caliber. This, on the side of the magwell, you will see this says Warsport multi-caliber. Does that mean I can shoot 300 blackout through it? No, multi-caliber in this instance is referring to its chamber of .223 Wild. And this is a kind of hard one for me to explain because I don't really super have a great grasp and understanding of it, but those guys that are my viewers, by all means, please help educate my viewers and me in the comments. But it's basically the in-between of a .223 cartridge and a .556, so it can accept the full powder and blast of a .556 cartridge, and also a .223. It's like the in-between stepped neck, so it can handle pressure of .556 and the size and diameter of a .223 cartridge in .223 Wild. So it's kind of an interesting thing. It does all things well with no problem. Great barrel, love it. Now you'll notice that the handguard is completely flush with the end of the top hat. This has a pair of grooves in the vertical axis of the handguard that is called a wire cutter. You can actually get in the field, if you were seeing wire fences, you could actually put the muzzle through this and, use leverage and snap that wire using the front of the handguard and the barrel. Kind of an interesting feature. Don't know how often you'd ever use that. It is monolithic. It is completely one solid piece of aluminum. There are no panels that bolt to it. Or, sorry, the handguard has no upper or lower. It is just one solid piece of machined billet. The machining on it is incredible. There are lightning holes, there are these trapezoids in it, and some interesting gimmicky bungee cords run through it. Now it is bungee, so if it gets too hot it'll actually just snap instead of melt to the rail like 550 cord would. And Warsport used to tell everyone that this was for harmonic dampening because the rail is monolithic. It would dampen any ringing or tones that would come out of the handguard. It was good for wet grip in the rain, good for cable management. It actually is good for cable management. You can see I've got my pressure pad cable routed through this bungee cord to keep it nice and flat. But really what it does is makes you look cool. Or makes the gun look cool. I'm not cool. Let's get that out of the way pretty quick. But it makes the handguard look extra unique and extra special. It has really no purpose, honestly. If we're gonna be honest with each other, we're gonna start this review out on the right foot and be straight up about it. It does nothing. It's non-functional. It's absolute obnoxious marketing garbage. But I love the way it looks. It feels pretty cool, and it helps keep my wire where I want. Now moving back from there, the upper receiver and the lower receiver are really, really well fitted. I would say they were probably hand fitted. I assume that they came from a matching forging, but they are not proprietary. There's nothing very super unique about the lower or the upper receiver other than they have engraved it with Warsport and the LVOA logo. But as far as the upper receiver goes, there's really nothing super proprietary about it other than the incredibly tight fit to the lower. In fact, this upper is hard to put on other lowers, and other uppers are hard to put on this lower because they are so well fit. There's a forward assist. It's got a standard dust cover. Nothing terribly exciting there. And on top of my rail or upper receiver, I am running a EOTech EXPS 3.2, so that is the 1/3 lower co-witness night vision compatible 2-dot reticle and a G33 flip to side magnifier. Absolutely love this combo, which is kind of laughable. Don't really need night vision with the fireball that this thing shoots out. Pretty much auto gates your tubes right out of the gate. Not a great host for a night vision setup. And then I've got a Surefire M300 Pro Mini Scout and a Surefire pressure pad in a cloud defensive bracket. Iron sight wise, this came with Magpul plastic iron sights. Didn't care for those. I've got the Knights Armament Micro 600 meter flip-up iron sights, which are one of the nicest iron sights you can get out there. And then the charging handle is actually made by Radiant. So kudos to Warsport for providing a charging handle that is my absolute go-to. Every rifle I own gets a Radiant charging handle. They are the gold standard and should be standard issue on every single AR you have. So kudos to them for putting a really good charging handle in it. As far as the bolt goes and the gas system, nothing scary, unique, or proprietary there. Standard gas block. It is low profile. Standard AR-15 gas tube. Standard AR-15 bolt carrier group, pin, cam, head, firing pin, all that stuff. Pretty standard. Nothing terribly exciting. It is really, really well made. The bolt carrier itself does have material to trip an auto sear. So that's kind of a nice feature, but I'm not sure if Warsport manufactured it or who manufactures this bolt and bolt carrier. I can't find any markings on it at all. Now let's move on to the lower. Like I said, the upper and lower receivers are incredibly well matched. There is zero wobble, zero take up, zero play between the upper and the lower. It feels incredible. So the magwell is machined like you would a magwell funnel. It has a very nice lip on it. Makes for easy inserts of magazines. It will accept any magazine I've ever put in it, from standard 20 round metal GI mags to Magpul to Lancer to Heckler & Koch metal 30 rounders. This thing accepts everything. No issues with tolerances, feedings, falling outs, all of that. So great work on the magwell and the funnel that it leads into it. Standard mag release here on the side. It is raised. It has some nice texture. Can't find out if anyone in particular made this. This might be an in-house Warsport actual magazine release. So good there. On the other side, there is also an ambi mag release that is just at the very edge, so I can still release the mag with the left side. The safety levers, I believe, were all maybe made by Radian, maybe made by Bad Industries. Not sure exactly who makes these levers, but they have a great texture. The left one is a little bit longer than the right one, so it won't get in the way. It is a 45-degree throw, has absolutely wonderfully positive clicks. On the lower itself, it is pictogram, so you've got the pictogram for safe, single fire, and full auto. This is not a full auto lower. There is no auto sear in here, but this is fully semi-automatic, which is pretty fun. The trigger is from CMC. This is a flat face trigger with a 4-pound pull, single stage. Absolutely incredible brake on this trigger. I'll ghost it for you here, but no take up whatsoever. Just your hard wall right out of the gate. And then 4 pounds, click. It is wonderful in that respect. The let off is super short. Ooh, you're right back on that wall, good to go again. Love this trigger for up close, fast work. It is just an absolute machine. Love this CMC trigger. Now, the lower is not truly ambidextrous outside of the safety lever and the magazine release. There is the standard paddle bolt hold open and bolt release. This one is squared off a little extended towards the rear towards the front, so you can get an easier release onto it. There's some nice texturing. This does appear to be made by Warsport. I can't find any other information about it, but there is not a bolt hold open or release on the other side of the lower. So it is not an ambi or a true ambi lower in the Warsport LVOA. It did come with this Magpul Myad grip. You can change out the back straps, the front straps, the insert. There's one for an extra bolt. There's one that holds lube, which is what I've got in mine. There was even one that had 3 extra rounds, so I guess like at the end of the zombie apocalypse, when you've run out of ammo, you can just take out the core of your Myad grip and give the last 3 rounds to you, your wife, and your best friend, I guess. Kind of dark and morbid. I don't know why you'd actually need 3 rounds in your grip. It's got to be pretty gnarly to be popping open that. And then on the actual rear, this LVOAC originally came with a standard military buffer tube and a B5 SOP mod enhanced stock, which I've put on my Mark 18. And I went with the Magpul UBR Gen 1 stock. This stock was really hard to find because they haven't made them in quite a few years, but I did find a retailer that had a few NOS or new old stock, brand new Magpul Gen 1s. I took the doors off of it and swapped it out, and it really makes this gun feel monolithic. So from the front to the rear, there's no wobble, there's no twist, there's no give, there's no rattle. It just feels like it's been machined out of one big solid billet block of aluminum. Feels like it too, because it's still heavier than hell, but helps balance out this front heavy rail. Now, so knowing that there is a bipod and an 18-ounce suppressor on the front of that, does this feel heavier than that?
Oh yeah, this is way heavier.
And having this on here is just an absolute dream. Always a consistent cheek weld because that never moves. Only the bottom portion of the actual stock moves, and it's a rock solid lockup. It's just, ooh, just a beautiful, beautiful stock. And was the look that you had to kind of mimic and create for cloning Tom Clancy's The Division LVOA. So that's why I went with the UBR to help balance it out. This is the LVOAC. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This thing is absolutely fantastic to shoot. I hope that you guys have yourselves a Merry Christmas and pick one of these things up if you ever find yourself in the market for one. Great as a loot drop off a guy like me who's not keeping up on his cardio for the dark zone. So reminder, get training, do cardio, or you're just going to become a loot drop for cool stuff like this when it actually all goes down. So if you enjoyed today's video, give it a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more content. Leave me a comment on what you think this rifle's really like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
If I was a really rich dude, I probably still wouldn't buy one of these. I'd probably buy 2 of those. But shout out Warsport for sponsoring this video.
Yeah, they're no longer in business.
Are they?